This is a wild one, you guys. And anybody that has been in true crime, I feel like you could be in true crime for a week or you could be in it for a decade. And most people know who this is, but Dee Dee Blanchard is getting out of prison.
Dee Dee, that's her mom.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Gypsy Rose Blanchard
Dee Dee's
is
dead.
getting out of prison, okay? She was part of a horrible murder that ended her mom, and they had a very unhealthy relationship together, as most of you know already, I'm sure, but I'm just telling the story in case we have somebody watching who doesn't know. But Dee Dee Blanchard was Gypsy Rose's mother, and they were dealing with Munchausen syndrome by proxy,
right?
And there was fakeness of illness going on, and they even it got so far where they had a house built for them for free. They were getting like all their groceries covered, all their medical stuff covered, and come to find out, Gypsy Rose wasn't sick.
Right, her mom was making her sick and making her take all these medications, even had her on a CPAP machine at night when she slept.
Yeah.
Like, had her shaved bald at all times, in a wheelchair. Like, this girl had no life up until being a teenager, and it was all to get a free ride, but also because of
the control.
Her illness, you know, Munchausen by proxy. I wonder if it can really be labeled as, like, a mental illness.
What else could it be? It has to be. I feel like
It just doesn't negate any responsibility, which in some cases
No.
a mental illness can kind of make you think, okay, well, maybe in this specific situation they were literally so out of their mind that this is what happened.
I mean, only some. Like, I feel
Right.
like there's a few mental illnesses out there where, yes, like, the accountability isn't 100%
It's a little different. It varies a little.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you have people like me with ADHD, and like the way I look at it is it's up to me to get over it because I have total and complete understanding of any concepts and people.
It's a learning
and things
disability,
like that.
though, right? Not a mental illness.
It is, but I mean, it all affects the mind. So when people talk about learning disability, that ultimately affects mental illness. Now, I'm sure the medical classification is different, like you're saying, but when a lot of people look at these, they're intertwined in some way. You know what I mean? Of course, it's not like bipolar where you're talking about a chemical imbalance, but ADHD is like a lack of oxygen. So there are still physical aspects to the mental issues that are being caused to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so where that line gets drawn between learning disability and mental illness, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that area, but I know it has similar effects and things like that. So. Yeah. With my not so smart self on psychology or psychiatry.
So she's going to get out of jail?
Yeah. She just got approved to be paroled December 28th of 2023.
To be honest, I thought the last documentary I saw about her, she was about to get out on parole. Maybe that was denied. I thought she had a parole hearing already, but maybe it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I honestly had a hard time completely faulting Gypsy in the murder of her mother.
Oh, gosh.
I had a hard time.
You probably should. You should watch documentaries again.
I have.
Oh, you did recently? Because for a while I felt that same way, and then I watched it again, and I feel like because there was such a long time between me watching it, when I watched again, I was like, oh man, there was actually like a lot of evidence, and she was totally complicit, and she was totally like the ringleader in getting him to end her, and that made me feel a little bit different.
Not me. I already knew all of that. So I have a hard time putting all the blame on her because the way she grew up. Like, you have a mother so controlling that you literally are not allowed to have a life. Like, she tried to have a life. She snuck around with that boy. She tried to do it in a way where it wasn't harming her mother. But her mother would
There
not
was only
allow
so
it. She
much that you
literally
could do.
tied
I
her to the
know.
bed at one point.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like
I
at
get
that
it.
point, you feel so trapped, and she doesn't know any other way really because this is the way she grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like, it's either you or me at that point. Like, I either get to have a life or I keep living under your control and I don't. So the only way I feel like made sense to her, she had to be severely mentally ill growing up that way too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
She lives in this very toxic situation that I had a hard time being like, yes, she's awful. She's a murderer. I do think she should have a chance at a life. And
I agree
with
with
a
you.
lot of help and, like guardrails.
I think where I would have felt better about the situation is if she went to a psychiatric prison, and she didn't. So
yeah, that's a problem in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going from trauma situation to trauma situation, where like the life that you did know on the outside was a super toxic, unhealthy one, and then you get this conviction, and then you go into a super toxic, unhealthy life in prison with criminals that a lot of them tell you that you go in with a high school basic understanding of crime and come out with a doctorate, or a bachelor's in crime. So I hope that in order to get paroled, and I don't have the details here, but I hope in order to be paroled, there's some sort of follow-up with psychiatric care.
I agree. 100%. There absolutely needs to be. And I believe that from some interviews and things that I saw, she was like working on herself quite a bit in prison, but I don't know how much psychiatric help she got. And I just don't understand why that wouldn't be the utmost importance. Maybe they did require it or something. I hope they did I hope they did for parole.
Yeah, I hope so. But I thought it was interesting. I thought you guys should know. Bam. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.